Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Save File Podcast. This is the 27th episode. Yeah, 20.
Yeah, we just checked it.
27. Okay, lucky number 27. All right, it's just me, Anf, and Sharps.
Did you really just have to think what my name was, or were you trying to come up with something?
I'm trying to come up with something. I'm entirely lost.
All right. Let's get right into it. So, the first thing I want to talk about, right, is something that I think is really fucking important to game development. Now, if you guys remember, a few months back, there was a huge news story of Activision Blizzard laying off a whole bunch of employees while essentially their executives got massive bonuses. Bobby Koetig has just announced he will take his salary and halve it.
Oh, whoop-de-fucking do.
It's out of, don't get me wrong, man, yeah, he's done it, but the guy's got enough money that him and his family will never need to work again.
Yeah.
Him doing it now is for fucking show. And even so, he's still taking home over $800,000 US a year. So, the family's not gonna starve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was literally, I think it was most likely a publicity stunt type of thing. Just so they can be like, hey, we kind of, don't mistreat our workers, even though they still do. I mean, we've heard some real horror stories coming out of Activision's own studios in the last year.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one in my memory was the Treyarch stuff that was going on. Do you remember that?
I remember it, yeah.
I mean, especially the way they were treating, essentially the people at the bottom, you know what I mean? It's
pretty fucking
And for
disgusting.
some reason, it's always QA and the entry-level developers, and it was especially the QA in Treyarch's case. I distinctly remember that they even had, different coloured, swipe cards to get in the building that would only, let them onto the floors that, where they ate and then where they worked, and that was it.
What purpose
that was
does
all,
that
yeah,
serve?
No, but that's my point. They did so much to make the QA team feel like they're not in line with the other developers. And look, if you work in QA, and I say that as someone who has done QA for a bit, it is a thankless fucking job, right? When it comes to QA in games, the only time people notice your job is if your game's full of bugs.
Yeah.
When you do your job right and you've done all you can and the game releases and there's no bugs, no one thanks the QA team.
No.
You know what I mean? You never hear about it. But
they don't get the respect that they deserve, which is sad.
They don't. And it's a fucking draining job. Testing games is not just play games and then report a bug you come across. There's so much more to it.
Yeah, they're not really playing it for fun. They're literally testing. You're told to jump in 10 times in this corner. What's the fun in that? It's a job.
My favorite part is trying to recreate bugs how you have no idea how they occurred.
Yeah.
There are times where you'll just get a random bug, and you're just the amount of things that could have caused that are just infinite. You don't know what you've done. But yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed at all with Activision Blizzard this past year in terms of how they've treated the people that work for them. I don't know if you remember, I think it was a few weeks ago, we discussed on the podcast that people who were laid off from, I think it was Blizzard, got $200 Battle.net gift cards as part of their severance.
I remember that shit, and what are they going to do with it, honestly? You're going to look at this card and think, I used to work here, why would I have anything to do with them? At all.
But what a shit thing to do to employees you've just fired. Hey, sorry you don't work here anymore. Here's $200 you can give us back. The amount of balls you need to have to do that shit.
What makes them think that they want to actually buy their products after working on it for so long?
No, look, I'm not gonna lie. If I was someone who was fired from Activision Blizzard, and I've never worked there, obviously for clarification, but like, you make friends with the people you work with in a studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you do want to see your friends like succeed and things like that. You know, it's great. Like, I love it when we've both got mates that are making games now, and I love it when I see posts from like studios they work at saying like, "Oh my god, we're releasing this!" Like,
Yeah, like LinkedIn
I know for a
and
fact,
Twitter.
yeah.
It's so wholesome every time.
So like, yeah, it makes sense that they would want to like buy games in the future to support them, but the fact that they laid them off in such a way where part of the severance package was a Battle.net gift card, I think is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just spiteful, like extremely spiteful.
Yeah.
But I can see where you're coming from. Like, yeah, I'd probably want to like keep buying their products, not for the sake of the company, but for the sake of those who you used to work with.
Well, Jim Sterling, in a recent video, was talking about how you can still support, like, you know, the people at studios that have done certain wrongdoings without actually helping the studio out. And like one of the biggest ones, and this is something we've both done in the past, buy used games.
Yeah, true.
Like, he said this, right? And I completely agree. When a game releases, within, like, a couple of days, you see it in the pre-owned shelf.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's a company you really want to support, and you know, I say this with all due respect to, like, people that work in these big AAA studios and that, I respect the games they make. I have nothing but respect for the people who are just like going in there and programming and doing art and things like that. But the executives at places like Ubisoft, EA, Activision Blizzard, they're walking, talking pieces of shit.
Mm.
But if you want to support the people like that grind to get these games out on time, it's a good point. You can always buy used.
Yeah.
And the best part is, those money-hungry executives don't get to, you know, run around and brag about their new $85 billion fucking extensions that someone's going to post about in a week or two.
Yeah. And they're still trying to get rid of, like, the whole, like, the notion of pre-ordering, just for that sole reason.
Pre-ordering...
It's not not pre-ordering, pre-owning, sorry.
Oh, pre-owning.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know, brain fart.
But it's like, when it comes to pre-owned games, there's no problem with them. I personally don't see a problem with them. And the only reason anyone sees a problem with pre-owned games is because if you buy a pre-owned game, the studio sees none of that money.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it's a studio you really, really want to support, then by all means, buy the game brand new, add to their sales numbers. If it's too expensive to buy at launch, you can always buy it down the line. You know, and like the only reason I buy games at launch now personally is if there's like a really cool collector's edition of a game I really, really care about from a series I really care about and a developer I'm happy to give money to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of boxes to tick before I buy your game at launch.
Mm. And when it comes to, like, pre-owned games, it's also a perfect, like, thing for you to budget your money with. So if you don't want to get a game at full price now, you can always go to, like, you know, the bargain bin later and find it. And that's pretty much your money saved if it goes down in price. So you got a $99 game, or 99 AUD, all the way down to 30. Like,
it's not even 99 anymore. Games are coming out and they're like $125 Australian on not only the digital PlayStation store, but even at like EB Games.
Don't fucking
and
remind
like
me.
other major retailers.
Oh.
I would never buy like a standard edition of a game at $125.
Yeah.
That is an absolute rot.
I look at it like at EB Games and I look at JB Hi-Fi and they're both so expensive. Sometimes I look on like Amazon comes out with like the cheapest stuff.
Yeah, I've never understood people having loyalty towards certain retailers. Like, I've seen so many comments on, like, a million different Facebook pages and on Twitter and things like that, where people are like, oh, you know, insert store here is really shit. I always buy from this store. And I'm just like, why? Like, man, just buy with whoever gives you the cheapest price or, like, a better deal or just something. Like,
now, well, speaking of retailers, alright, you know, sorry, Lord, I'm about to rant.
oh, God.
Okay.
Here we go.
So fucking Oz Game Shop. You know how I got Near Replicant, right?
Yeah.
So I ordered Near Replicant from Oz Game Shop. Oz Game Shop came out with a deal saying, okay, we're gonna sell this game for $72. If you bought from like EB or JB, would have been like either 99 or I guess 89. I can't remember. It was like kind of expensive, but this was the cheapest you could get it at.
How much did you say you paid for it?
$72 with
right.
free shipping. Because if you pay more than $50, you get free shipping. Sounds like a good deal, right?
Yeah.
So here's the catch. You ordered this game, and then you're like, okay, I just gotta wait for it to come out when it like releases, and then it will ship to me. You go on the website and you see it's like, okay, it's been dispatched. They didn't send me an email saying it was dispatched at all. It also didn't come with tracking.
But what do you mean it didn't come with tracking? It didn't give you a tracking number or anything like that?
Nope. Not at all. And that is where my problem lies. Because I hate it when retailers don't give you tracking at all. That's never happened before. This is the first time I've ever dealt with a quote unquote retailer or retail website that never gave me tracking. But the whole way through from the day it released or dispatched to the day it came was pure paranoia fuel.
I honestly can't think of a retailer that doesn't offer tracking in this day and age. Like, whether it be tracking through the website you bought it from or the courier, I can't imagine like not having tracking.
I never thought they could even do that at all. Like, I thought,
and it's weird because Oz Game Shop, like that. Oddly enough, that stuff came from England, right?
Yeah, the UK.
Yeah, so it's going overseas from the UK to Australia, and they didn't bother to give you tracking.
Yeah, and I know it came from like, I don't know. I can't tell where it came from, either Ozpost, Aramex, or some shit. I don't even know where or how it came here, but it came. But the time I had to wait in between getting it was terrifying, because I was thinking, this could be $72 gone down the drain, and I don't know where the fuck it is, and I don't know how to track it. Other than, you know, my order receipt, which is, I don't know what I'm going to tell them, to be honest. I'm never shopping there again, so, Oz Game Shop, you have lost yourself a fucking customer. Well done. Next time you want to go sell something to someone, give them a fucking tracker.
I'm honestly shocked that like there's no track. Like, bro, it's 2021. How do you not have tracking on it?
It astounds me, man. Like, I better hope to God that when I get my, like, because the next thing I've ordered is in September, which is the Tales of Arise Collector's Edition. I'm gonna fucking hope that JB Hi-Fi gives me a tracker, and they have before.
Alright, I'm not saying this to like dim your hopes, but when it comes to JB Hi-Fi, I've heard fucking horror stories about like, you know, things coming late and like no tracking, or like, you know, packages come in like bad condition and things like that.
Oh shit.
I've never ordered from JB Hi-Fi. Mainly because there's one like 10 minutes away or less.
Yeah.
So there's no point in me ordering it. But like I hope it goes well for you, because I know how much you're looking forward to Tales of Arise.
Yeah.
How much is that collector's edition you bought? What was it, like 400?
So the base price on the site, like without the delivery and all that,
Yeah.
it was like 399.
Yeah, so 400.
So what I ended up paying some, because the plus the tracking, it came down to 400 and I think 6 or 409. I can't remember, but it was along those lines. It was very expensive, but I believe it'll be worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had a problem with like games per se. The only time I've had a problem with shipping was when I ordered online from JD Sports. That is the only time I've ever had a bad experience buying something online in terms of the condition the package shows up in. For starters, right, I couldn't stop laughing at this, right? I sent a photo in the chat. I don't know if you remember it when I had this happen. I ordered 2 pairs of shoes, right?
Yeah.
And because they had put both shoes in like a bigger box for shipping, they obviously have a label on it that says what it is, and more importantly, how much it weighs, which is like normal to see on any like big box with stuff in it.
Yeah.
But these 2 pairs of shoes apparently weighed over 1,000 kilograms, according to the sticker. I don't know if you... I can't remember if you saw it. I know I definitely sent it in the chat. And then the other thing that annoyed me was the package just showed up. The box was like all scuffed and shit. Which luckily it wasn't like a limited edition shoe. Because like I would hate to shell out a few hundred and like the box shows up scuffed and shit like that. I hate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, not only that, but it took like 3 weeks to get this shoe from like 20 minutes away from where I ordered it to my house. And I'm like, oh man, at that point you should have just fucking... I should have just gone and picked it up.
It's fucking shocking. Where was it coming from initially though?
So the factory I think is in Homebush, which is 20 minutes away from me. Not even.
Yeah.
And like I don't care about ordering something if it's close. Like I've ordered games and things like that online. And like half the time they come in from somewhere around Australia or even Sydney where we live. But like the fact that like it took 3 weeks to travel 10 minutes was amazing to me. And I looked up online. There are other people who complain about like the condition their stuff's rocked up in and things like that.
Oh god.
Honestly, in this day and age, like I don't know how delivering stuff has so many issues.
And I don't know why tracking is an issue these days as well. It should be a standard.
No, it absolutely should. Like I said, I've never heard like of ordering something online and not being given tracking.
It's a horror story waiting to happen. Like,
yeah,
if there's no tracking, I mean, sure you've got your order docket, but how are you meant to know if it's even coming or if it's even in the country?
Yeah.
Because I remember because I ordered 2 things that week. There was Near Replicant and a book called The Art of Bravely Default. It's separate sites. So one site was Oz Game Shop, the other site was the Nile. So the Nile, their tracking didn't work when they gave me the number, and I was going, what the fuck? Like, why isn't it working? And like a couple of like days later, it started working because it was in the country. That was all fine and well, because they did give me a tracking number, which worked until it came to the country. I don't know why it's like that. It just is. But when it comes to not give me tracking at all from Oz Game Shop, I can't excuse that. I can't defend that. It's shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing with your shoes. I don't know why shipping should be a problem when it's like you're closer to Homebush than me.
Like I've worked in like warehousing before, and some companies are really adamant on like not ruining the condition, and others will just like throw shit into a box and then throw the box in the back of a van and send it off.
Yeah, haha, FedEx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Amph, I wanna move on from online shipping, right? Xbox came out a few days ago, and they added FPS boosts to 74 games on the Series S and Series X.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking impressed.
That's actually really good. Good on them.
Look, when it comes to business, right, I have like a system, right? If you're going to sell something, I believe that one of the best things you can do is offer something that no one else can get. Now, in games, the most obvious thing is exclusive games. You know, you buy a Nintendo, you buy it for like Mario, Zelda, all that other shit.
Yeah.
You buy a PlayStation, you buy it for their IPs. Obviously, Xbox doesn't really do like the, exclusives as we know them, because now everything's on, they essentially share the library with PC. But the other thing you can do is you can make your platform the best place to play anything.
Absolutely.
Like, one of the reasons the 360 was so successful around its launch and the PS3 was struggling was because devs were struggling to develop for the PS3, and it had a lot of issues early on, which is why a lot of third-party games were running better on the 360.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're considering buying a game console, having games run better on one console over the other is a huge, huge benefit.
Oh, absolutely. That's 100% true. I remember back in the PS3 days, do you remember the game Sonic Unleashed?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was the PS3 version and the Xbox 360 version. We're gonna cross out the Wii and PS2 versions. They're not necessary here. I remember in the PS3 version there were frame drops in certain places. There was like also like a different loading screen compared to the Xbox 360 version. The best version of that game was actually the 360 version. I don't know if it lagged in that fucking forest level, if anything, but yeah, from what I've heard, as you said, many games ran extremely well on the 360 compared to the PS3.
Well, like I built my PC earlier in the year, right? I built it a few months back. One game that I was looking forward to playing was Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2 is notably one of the worst PC ports of any game out there. Yeah. Everything from, your standard bugs to, game-breaking stuff, crashes, whatever. But the best way, the consensus is, the best way to play that game is on the 360. Now, I own Saints Row 2 on the PS3, and it has aged quite terribly. I thought of it with like rose-tinted glasses, but it's definitely aged. The 360 was just at the start of that console generation, for like the first half of it, the 360 was the console to get.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from that, PlayStation's had a big, a lot of big things in the last fortnight. And I think the biggest thing is a couple days ago they announced a partnership with them and Discord.
Oh, yeah, I heard of this.
Like, that I think is a fucking good move. So I mean, we always talk, me, you, Josh, and the others in the chat. And I've been pretty vocal that I think Sony has been making some really odd moves of late. I don't understand why they bought Evo.
Neither do I, to be honest.
I don't understand why Jim Ryan is allowed to answer questions, because everyone hates him. And just a whole bunch of weird things.
But one of the good things is they actually, redacted the whole PS3 thing.
Yes, the PS3 store shutting down and the Vita store. But this is one of the first times where, in this generation, I've looked at something Sony has done and I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. And obviously, it was a couple months ago, there were talks about Discord being... Sorry about that. Discord potentially being bought out by Amazon and Microsoft, and everyone had their names in a hat and that.
Yeah.
But no, it's for a long time we've been saying that someone should just integrate Discord into their game console. I said Nintendo should do it because the fact that you have to get a phone app to online chat on Nintendo is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like that's the whole reason why we just use Discord when we use like the Switch anyway.
Everything. We use it for everything, no matter what we're playing.
That's true. But now if it's coming to the PlayStation, I can basically, if I'm like not on my computer at all, like because I turn off my computer from the Switch if I'm not using it.
Yeah.
I would be if I was on my TV and PlayStation, I'd have that on instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time I could probably just join you guys while I'm playing on my PS5, and that just sounds phenomenal.
I think it is. I think it's a great fucking move. And the other big collaboration with PlayStation,
Nike.
is yeah. So a few years ago, I think it was for PlayStation's 20th anniversary, they collaborated with Paul George, who's an NBA player. And they took one of his signature shoes and they made a PlayStation version of it. From memory, I believe it was like grey and it had the color scheme to match the original PlayStation 1. For the PS5, they've come together again. And I actually, I really do like this shoe.
It's got some good design on it as well.
Yeah. No. I think that man, it's really good. But obviously the running joke, everyone's reported on is that they're going to be impossible to get your hands on. The other one they made, the original one, that was pretty tough to get your fucking hands on too. I don't know anyone that's been able to get their hands on it. So yeah, I would assume this is going to be a similar thing.
Do you think if people wear it, they can sorry. Do you think if people can wear it, do you think it'll increase their dexterity by like 30? Increase their gaming skills, get good?
Man, I was in Japan, right? We were in a chain store called Yodobashi Camera, and we went up to the games level, and they sell legit like esports gaming apparel. Like they have they have like gamer gloves and things like that.
Gamer gloves?
Gamer gloves, yes.
Armors to protect you during the zombie apocalypse.
100%. Plus one sleight of hand.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, personally, I think it's ridiculous. But, if that's what you want to wear while you play games, go for it.
I would not wear those shoes. I would put them in a very safe place because that's valuable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I believe they are a limited edition. They're not going to be like mass produced or anything like that. So
it's the same logic to when you got me my KH cup. Do you think I used that to drink?
I mean, that's a cup though. That's the difference. That is a cup. These are shoes. Like, you can wash a cup, but to restore shoes is a lot harder.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Because if you get get dirt on shoes, fuck, they're a bitch to clean.
Yeah. Other big news this week. The Australian government will introduce a tax offset for game developers.
Oh.
Yeah,
that is...
So, I looked at the article, and it's a 30% tax offset. So it's in line with film production and TV, which is really good. Honestly, to finally see a little bit of support from the government is nice. Before that, it was... I believe it was a little different in other states, but in New South Wales, it was essentially non-existent. You were just, on your own.
Yeah.
I think this will help bring back game development in, or at least on a larger scale in, Australia's major cities.
I remember, I think I was just a wee teenage boy when all the companies just started dying off one by one because of the lack of support. And it was sad to see, fucking, what was one of them? Who did we have? We had, 2K here as well.
2K were in Canberra.
Yeah, we had, THQ, I think. Do we have THQ?
We had Pandemic in the 2000s as well.
Yeah, Pandemic, yeah. And they disappeared. Yeah. We also had...
Team Bondi.
Team Bondi, yes. LA Noire.
Yeah, but Team Bondi had a lot of issues. That was not to do with government backing. That was oof.
That was
Team,
that was one topic you should never bring up to a teacher in AIE when we were
I, rem-
studying.
I remember hearing that the people that made it to the end of the development of LA Noire when the game went gold, they got jackets that said Survivor on it.
Oh no.
Like,
I remember that.
but like man, it was a really tough environment from what everyone's said, and I hope everyone from there has gone on to better things. But in the last couple of years, we have seen studios that are trying to commit to game development here in Australia. Sledgehammer opened up down in Melbourne, and that was to be honest a bit surprising from where I'm sitting. But at the same time, I think it's a good move. Australia has so much talent in the in the game development industry,
even in the indie market as well, because two very successful games came from here as of recently.
Well, I mean, I think like most of our success has been on the indie scene.
Yeah, like look at
Like, it's
Untitled
great.
Goose Game and Hollow Knight. Those came from here.
That's right. I forgot Hollow Knight was Aussie.
Yeah, I had to look that up today, and I'm like, wait, hang on. What was the other indie game that was like really successful here, or from here? And it was that game. And I was like, oh fuck, for real?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of like indie success stories here. What about like what's it called, Crossy Road?
Oh yeah, that's right. That did come from here as well.
Yeah, that's Hipster Whale down in Melbourne. In Sydney, we have SMG. Moving Out is a fantastic fucking game to play with friends. I love it.
Did Pac-Man 256 come from here?
I have no idea. I don't think so.
I'll quickly look it up. Just give me a second. Need them hands to be on fast mode right now. Pac-Man.
But it's honestly so good to see that. I feel like the game dev industry here in Australia is just gonna hopefully grow constantly over the next, we'll say, decade or so. I'm interested to see where it is, in a few years down the line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Pac-Man 256 was most definitely Australian.
Where was it from?
Hipster Whale from the Crossroad fame. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they did Pac-Man 256. That's fucking great. But honestly, man, I really love a lot of the stuff that Australian devs have been doing. It's great to see.
And hope for better things in the future now that we have support.
Yeah. Now for a very big opinion piece.
Ooh, here we go.
The PS5. We're recording this episode on the 6th of May, 2021. I've owned a PS5 since launch. Okay? I definitely enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, the first game I played on it, obviously, was Astro's Playroom, considering it's pretty much the tech demo for it. It was great. I played Spider-Man Miles Morales. It was great. Yeah. I played NBA 2K21. Not so great, but not PS5's fault. It's mostly due to a lot of issues with 2K itself.
Yeah.
But the one thing I think is holding the PS5 back is the fact that Xbox is continuously coming out with more and more little improvements to the Series S and the Series X. I'm just going to compare it to the Series X, because Series S is a whole other case. But yeah. I'm liking all these constant little improvements. I really want to... It looks like, from the way we're trending, the Xbox is going to be completely different in 2 years, with all these updates that come out for it.
Yeah.
My question is, will the PS5 be in the same place? And if it is, I think that's going to be a problem for Sony.
Yeah, like, at the moment, there's not enough people on the PlayStation 5, if you know what I mean. We've got people still hunting for the damn thing. And...
There's enough people on it, though.
Fairly. But... by the time it does come to a point where it's like a common thing in everyone's household, the expectations for it is going to be grand, as we all know. It just comes down to what games they are going to put out on it. And so far it looks like it's going to be bangers, but how consistent is that going to be?
I mean, it's a tough way to do business because you're constantly banking on the games being good. Sony do have a very good track record with their exclusives. They do have some misfires, like the Order 1887, for example.
Yeah, what a nightmare that one was.
But like for every Order 1887 there's like 3 Bloodborns. You know what I mean? Even and like now with PlayStation Studios being unified and everything, it looks like a lot of great games are going to be coming out over this generation, and I really hope there's a lot of them.
Yeah, so far with the PS5, like I've noticed it's been like banger after banger as we were seeing. Like at the moment, have you seen the success that the Returnal is having right now?
Yeah, no, it's reviewed really well. Like the critical reception's been great. I've seen a lot of people complain about the lack of a save feature, but
it is a roguelike.
It is a roguelike, but when your session, like when you can go like 2-3 hours without a save in between, that is really fucking tough.
Yeah, and trying not to die is another challenge in its own right.
Well, one thing I thought of was, well, why don't you just put your PS4 in a rest mode? Because that essentially like just keeps the game wherever it is. It pauses it, essentially.
Yeah.
And I thought of that, and then like, it couldn't have been like 2 hours later, but I saw someone tweet out, I left my PS4 in rest mode while playing Returnal, and it updated while it was in rest mode, so it closed the game.
Oh, that sucks.
That's rough.
Woof. Like, that's like playing Demon Souls, which is like on the PS5 now. You get up to a bit where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like put my console into rest mode. And yeah, you log back on. It turns out your freaking system disconnected from the internet, so it just kicks you out of the game.
Do you need a constant online connection for it?
For online mode, yeah. You can play it offline, but if you play it online and at any point the game disconnects, it kicks you out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but I'm lucky. Actually, we both are. We both have like pretty stable internet. And
not at the moment. Not so much mine.
Yeah, but like overall, yours is pretty good.
Yeah.
In terms of stability, but like, I imagine living out in like a rural area with fuck all infrastructure, trying to play like an online game.
Yeah, that'd be really rough.
actually, we do. A friend we studied with at AIE, Alice. She's from Dubbo, which is like a much smaller town than.
Was she from Dubbo?
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't even know that.
I think it was Dubbo. But she's like, yeah, because of the shitty like internet there. Like, if someone was to watch Netflix, like no one else can use the internet, and like playing online games is just like not a thing.
Okay. Wow. So the NBN never reached there or anything like that?
No, I mean it's there now, I'm assuming, but like that's how it was when she left.
Oh, right. Wow, and that wasn't so long ago.
It wasn't. It was a few years.
Jesus. Let's just hope that everyone here can get the stable internet that we deserve.
I mean, it's a while away, unfortunately, thanks to the fuck-ups of the NBN.
Yeah. I said that in a very sarcastic tone, because at the moment it's not so very stable.
So, there is one game I know for a fact we both are looking forward to, and that is Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
We both watched the state of play. I think it looks fantastic. Like, I say this as a fan of the series, and like it's essentially what I wanted from a PS5 Ratchet game.
When I saw that it was continuing on from the end of Nexus, so that means it's continuing on from the original continuity, I was like, no, I'm in. Like
Yeah.
if it continued off from like the reboot, I would have been like, not so much in.
Well, I
But
mean, the reboot as a game was like quite successful, but I mean, the movie and I mean, essentially the audience the 2016 game was targeting was different to the movie. Like, if you look at the game's themes and its story from like the original 2002 one, completely different undertones to the 2016 one. That was because the 2016 one's definitely geared for kids a lot more.
yeah, I remember having a massive rant about this the other day as well, about like how the original was compared to the remake. Like, how I was talking about like Clank and Ratchet's relationship in the
Yeah.
original game.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, in the reboot, basically their relationship was rushed, I guess, is the best way I could describe it. In the original game, there was a bit of like conflict and tension between the two, like in the middle of the game, because Ratchet didn't like the fact he was betrayed by Quark, and Clank led him to that specific place.
I mean, there's more than that. There's more than that. It was Ratchet wanted adventure. Clank wanted Ratchet to be the hero in the first one, if you remember.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it had some very memorable moments where Ratchet was a bit of a dick. I think my favorite one was when Clank is hiding the infobot about Planet Pokitaru, the vacation planet.
Oh yeah.
And then like Ratchet looks at him and is like, "What are you hiding there?" And he's like, he pulls out the infobot, and Ratchet's so excited to go to this vacation island. And then Clank's just like, "No, Ratchet, we're only going there to get like the helmet that you needed to progress the game."
Yeah.
Ratchet's happy to go there and surf and swim and shit.
Having the time of his life. Yeah,
But,
I remember playing the bit where Ratchet and Clank were just not talking to each other, or Ratchet was hostile to him like for like half the game. And as a kid, that was jarring to me. But going back to it, like grown up, like to Ratchet's character now, it's a stroke of genius.
Well, I mean, people didn't even like Ratchet's personality, and it was like to a point where in Going Commando or Locked and Loaded if you're Aussie, they actually changed his voice actor to who it is now, who is James Arnold Taylor. And like the fact that they even went to the effort of changing the voice actor is pretty astounding.
Yeah, and they didn't change the battle grunts because it sounded very same-ish
Yeah.
to James Arnold Taylor.
But I mean, there's a reason it's my favorite series. I think it's fantastic. I'm just really, really excited to see what Rift Apart brings us.
Oh, dude, same. Like,
Um,
the only thing I'm concerned about is if you can go back to different planets through a spaceship and you get to see that. Then again, maybe because, the PS5 is fast loading now, we won't see that, the ship thing again.
My request, though, Sony, please, can you just give us a Ratchet and Clank collection, Kingdom Hearts style, like the story so far?
Oh, God, please.
I know me, you, and Jack have said a million times by now, we just want that collection on the PS5. I think Insomniac's been like one of Sony's best studios now for since the PS2. And I mean, it's great to just see them pump out great game after great game. They've been really good lately, like this last few years.
Oh, yeah. Like,
They had Spider-Man 2018. Well, the Ratchet and Clank 2016 game was well received. Gameplay-wise, it was fantastic. I just didn't like the story. Then there was 2018 Spider-Man. Again, very well received game. They obviously gave us Miles Morales last year. Great. The update
absolute
for Ratchet
banger.
and Clank. They released the update for the 2016 Ratchet and Clank game, which, boosted its performance on PS5, which looks fantastic from what I've seen.
yeah.
I really, really hope Rift Apart is good.
I also
I
heard
really
that
hope.
I also heard that Sunset Overdrive has been copyrighted by Sony now.
Yeah, Sony have filed the trademark for it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, that means there's gonna be a port coming to PS5.
I really hope they do. Sunset Overdrive looked fun, but I never owned an Xbox One to play it.
It's on Steam.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it. You know how many games I have in my Steam library now. Thank you, Humble Bundle.
Same here, but that's due to Steam sales. Thanks, Steam sales.
I literally just I bought my Humble Choice. Humble Choice is like where it's the subscription where like every month they give you 12 games.
Yeah.
So I added like another 12 to my library today.
Oh my god.
It's great. I love Humble Bundle. And the best part was they gave me Metro Exodus on Steam, which is good because I'm never buying anything on Epic.
Thank God for that. I'm hoping that Epic brings over the KH collection to Steam.
I mean, look, my only real problem with Epic is it doesn't have the level of controller support Steam has.
No.
Like when I buy games on Steam, I don't really fucking I don't have to think about whether it'll support my DualShock 4. Epic,
Yeah.
on the other hand, I was absolutely bummed out when I found out I couldn't play 3 out of 10 with a DualShock 4.
It also astounds me that there's no achievements on Epic, but Steam has a very like dedicated achievement system.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh? What? Like, even like that's like a pretty good thing to integrate into your launcher.
Yeah.
Like, huh? Anyway, like I definitely can't wait to see what like back on topic to Ratchet.
Yeah.
I definitely can't wait to see what Rift Apart can like pull off. Like, we all know what it looks like gameplay wise, but in this case, Ratchet has a pretty like consistent lore, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what developments that the story is gonna make. Like, is Ratchet gonna find the Lombaxes?
Well, he found them already.
He found them, but he hasn't met them entirely. He's met like probably like one. Now he's about to meet another one from a different dimension.
It's also great that they finally revealed the name of that female Lombax as Rivet.
Rivet.
It works. It works. You said you wanted to see if she used her hammer the same way Ratchet uses his wrench, and like I think that I could have sworn in like one of the trailers they've already shown that she does.
Like she throws it. Comic Strike, yeah.
I like that Ratchet Clank now has like a dodge roll, essentially. Not a roll, but like a dodge button.
Like a aerial dodge.
Yeah, no, like you can even use it on the ground, but it's just a dodge. It's like straight, like, From Software style dodge.
It's going Bloodborne.
Oh, man.
Could you imagine getting hit by a boss in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and it takes 50% of your health?
I'm going through the Ratchet games again, and I'm in, like, New Game Plus on a crack in time.
Yeah.
And, like, the bosses already take, like, a third of my health. And I've got, like, the best armor in the game.
Bruh, that's what happened to me when I replayed Ratchet and Clank 3.
Yeah.
Before I went to New Game Plus, I was like, oh yeah, Nefarious is the final boss, right? He doesn't seem that hard. He throws his fucking bomb at me, and there's like, half my health was gone. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in for the fight of my life. And then, as soon as I got to New Game Plus, or Challenge Mode, everyone was Nefarious.
Ah.
And I'm like, oh fuck, this is gonna be fun.
Did you not have the best armor in the game at that point? I think it was the
Infernox?
Yeah.
I didn't have it on my first playthrough, but whenever I went on my challenge mode playthrough, I'd get it.
Yeah.
Because of the like, the bolt multiplayer you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of that.
Also, May 4th was 2 days ago, right? And Insomniac put a tweet up about, and it was like Ratchet and Clank 3 and Ratchet using the double lightsaber. I remember, and like you brought up how it made the wrench challenges so much easier.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember putting that cheat in for the first time, and then just going through like this was before I even got to those challenges in Annihilation Nation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even use the wrench until that moment. As soon as I got to the bit where I put the cheat code in, I was just going through with the wrench the whole way through. Like I was just like, you know what, this is cool, because this was during the peak time where I was very into Star Wars. Still am. Like I love Star Wars, but this is when I was like super into it, and getting that lightsaber was just a dream. To the point that I just went, fuck the guns, I'm using the lightsaber, or wrench saber, so to speak. But this lightsaber extended like the wrench's reach, like 3 times its length, so it was kind of broken. And I think you said it hit twice, right?
Yeah.
God damn. Do you remember in Ratchet Clank 3 how you had to fight those Annihilation Nation bosses?
Yeah.
I did the freaking skill point thing because I was like, oh yeah, this wrench is so broken, right? I would go up to like, I think it was Scorpio or something like that, forgot his name, and would just beat him with my wrench, and it gave me a skill point for it, and I'm like, hell yeah.
You know, as much as I'm a fan of the series, I've never gotten all the skill points in like a single Ratchet game.
Neither.
I've never bothered to do it.
It would give you like pretty interesting cheats like big head Ratchet and all that, but you wouldn't really use it in the grand scheme.
You know what? I forgot to tell you boys. I had a dream, right? And I'll post in the chat we have after this. But I had a dream that an Ape Escape remake got announced, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish that was real. Ape Escape is one of those games I would like love to see a remake of.
I used to because I've only played Ape Escape. I never owned Ape Escape. Back when there was a Civic Video in my like region. Do you remember the Civic Video, man?
Oh yeah, I had Video Easy in my area, man.
Dude, I had all 3. I had like Civic Video. I had Video Easy. I think there was a no, we didn't have Blockbuster, but we had Leading Edge Video. We had those 3, and they were competing with each other during that time. So I think it was Civic Video had Ape Escape, and I was like, oh Dad, could you like rent that for me while he got like some God knows what movie he got. Yeah, I played it, and fuck, it was fun. I didn't have a memory card for a PS1 game or anything, but Ape Escape was just a whole bundle of joy, man. Like catching monkeys, hitting him with like some, I guess, a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Was like some of the most entertaining shit you could have. But at the same time, I've never heard of a concept where you would use like items with the analog stick. Because I was so used to playing games with like attacking with the buttons and shit. Like it was so foreign to me at the time.
Yeah.
But years later, I realized, oh shit, this was made during the time analog stick was like at its starting point.
Yeah, no, like people forget that the original PlayStation controller did not have analog sticks, if you remember.
Yeah.
You had to like go out and buy a DualShock.
And a lot of the games weren't compatible with the analog sticks either. Like if you tried to use that thing, it's just gonna say, nah, we don't even know what that function is.
Can you imagine if we never thought of like the invention of the joystick?
Bro. That would be where would our fingers be, to be honest?
I think the only game I do not use a joystick for would be a fighting game, because I prefer using the D-pad. But yeah. I'm very unique. Like I don't understand how people use fight sticks. Like I much prefer a controller in my hand.
I could sort of see it, like, the original Street Fighter 2 or like Street Fighter in general. Like I can see how it works, but in Tekken, not so much. Because I was just like, yeah, I know how to do this on the controller, but in a joystick, how the fuck do I do that? Like Thunder God Punch or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Do you remember like back in the day, with like Nintendo 64, where it had the analog stick? but it didn't have a second analog stick.
Yeah.
Imagine how annoying that would have been.
Actually, one of my mates, who's like a bit older than us, talked about how much he loved the N64's controller, right? Especially because he's a left-handed person.
Yeah.
And like one of the good things about the having that one lone analog stick in the middle is you can hold it with your right hand or left hand, and it essentially feels the same. Whereas on like an Xbox or a DualShock, the DualSense now, like I mean, it's made for right-handed people.
Yeah, well, back when I first saw the thing, I looked at it and went, what the fuck, is that thing a boomerang? And then, like, when I first, used it, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Like, it felt good. But this is the time when I was so used to the PS2 that, like, I was extremely young, so it was like a preferential thing. Like, it was either this, and I preferred that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, looking back on it now, I could see how this was like everyone's like at that time's first gaming console, because they grew up with like Ocarina of Time, Super Smash Bros. 1, and Super Mario 64. Like they got some pretty good hits back then.
Yeah.
But so did PlayStation, so
Everyone had hits, man.
That's true. Except Sega at the time. Because this was going towards the time they
Yeah, this is when Sega was going like downhill in terms of their sales and things like that. I'm trying to remember, I think it was the Sega Saturn where they didn't have a release date, where they just like rocked up at an E3 and they were like, it's on sale now. And like that pissed off retailers so much that that they just wouldn't stock it. From memory, it was the Saturn. But don't hold me to that. You never heard about that?
I never heard about this.
Yeah, no, they walked up at 1E3 and they're like, our new console is available now. And because obviously like a whole part of selling a console is like marketing and building the hype for it, a lot of retailers were like, yeah, unless you're going to like help us market this shit, and it's a bit hard to do that when you're not going to tell anyone the release date. Unless you're, they just wouldn't stock it. I think Best Buy refused to sell any of them.
It's really sad too, because the Sega Saturn actually had one game that was critically acclaimed to be one of the best RPGs made of all time.
Which was?
Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Yeah.
Because it was on, I looked at it, I'm just like, what the hell is this game? Why is it on, like, one of the greatest games list? I looked at the gameplay and everything, and I thought, why the fuck was this not popular?
Yeah. Alright, you want to call it there for tonight?
Yeah, sure. So, this has been the Safe File podcast. Tonight has been Josh Sharps.
Just me and you.
And just me.
Alright. Signing off.
Signing off. See yous.